Welcome back to another episode of the Live Your Yes Life podcast. My name is Lisa Limata. I will be your co-host for this episode, and I'm really excited to bring you this interview with Lillian Sue. She is a PR coach and a publicist. She lives out on the west coast of Canada, and we got into a really candid conversation about what it means to her and really what she's overcome to get to the place of living her yes life. This is going to be really inspiring for you. She does work a lot with entrepreneurs, authors, and coaches, but even if you do not fall in one of those categories, listen in because she drops so much wisdom about what it takes to really step into her yes. And I think that for many of us, her story and her courage of what she's overcome is so relatable to some of the challenges maybe that you might be walking through in your life right now. And I'm excited for you to jump in. We really went in deep on talking about, what it's like to choose your own path in a sense. So she felt early on the path she thought she was going to take was the one sort of set out for her by her parents, and quickly realized that it wasn't really her calling. And so, I think that many of us can relate to this idea of maybe stepping outside of the norms. Anyone who's deciding to claim and live their yes life is going to come up against challenges, or maybe people who don't understand or don't agree with the path that we're taking. So you're going to enjoy this. Go ahead and jump right in. And please be sure to continue the conversation by joining us inside of the Live Your Yes Life for Heart-Centered Leaders Facebook group. If you're not already in that group, you're going to want to be there. Almost monthly, weekly, I have people tell me how much they appreciate the community inside of this group because the conversation is just different, right? It's just really inspiring. It's supportive. It's a place where we are all there to really make ourselves better and to lean into what it means to live a yes life. Kayla and I share masterclasses every single month inside of the group for free, as well as weekly lives where we hop in and just share a little bit about whatever is going on or what we can bring forward to just really support you into stepping into your next level. So be sure to click the link, join us inside of the Facebook group. And after you listen to this interview, I would love to hear your thoughts. Welcome, Lillian, to the podcast. I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm really excited for everyone to get to know you a little bit. Could we kick off our conversation today with, it's kind of a big question, but I really love to ask this, how did you get here? Here as into this place in your journey, this place of living your yes life. How did you get to this now moment?
Hey, Lisa, thanks for having me. I think I would like to start by basically going back 17 years. And the whole thing kind of started where I spent most of my life, I think, being a bit of a rebel, in the sense that even when I was in school, people had asked me, because I was doing an English degree, are you going to teach? And I said, no, that's not something I'm interested in doing. I want to parlay my love of storytelling into a business. And I almost fell into entrepreneurship accidentally because I was at the time looking for paid internships while I was in college. And I thought the only way I'm ever going to get hired for that is if people can see what I can do. I need to build a portfolio. So I sort of fell into being a freelancer almost accidentally and started getting experience helping people bring their stories to life. I was doing it through copywriting. I was doing it through social media strategy. And I had people who said to me, is PR something you would do? So people were asking me, is PR something you do? Because I have events I want to share. And I got tired of telling people no. I thought, hey, this is the next level challenge for me. Let me try it out. Let me see if this is something that I could do. Let's see if I would have fun with it. And throughout this whole process, going back a little bit, I was born and raised in a family where cultural tradition was really, really important. I'm first generation Chinese born Canadian. My parents are immigrants. So there's a box that you're supposed to fit in, right? If you're not a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, something respectable, you're going to go work for the government for 40 years, get a pension, you're set. My parents were all about the financial stability. They didn't understand the idea of pursuing your passions and wanting more out of life. So I always say that resilience marked my life very early on because I felt like I had to speak up and fight for what I wanted. And indeed, I had to fight for my life, even on a physical health standpoint, because I was born early and I had some complications early in life that have really changed, I think, how I look at challenges in running a business. I jumped into the PR side wholeheartedly because I really wanted to learn. I really wanted to challenge myself. And I wanted to expand on my love of helping people get their stories out there. So I started working in PR. I cut my teeth with a few agencies in town and fell in love with doing it for indie film and television, especially. Got to work on some fantastic projects. And at the same time, as time went on, I kept coming across crossroads. What I refer to as my, crossroads epiphany moments where it's like, okay, when things are good, I love doing what I do, but I can't ignore that, hey, this year business wasn't great. I didn't make a cent. And I had to ask myself, is this something that I still want to do? Being that, I never had any family support with it. There are people that are pushing me to change focus to just get a job and not worry, not have to worry about cash flow. And I thought, this is something I still love doing. I'm passionate about it. Let me figure out a way that I can keep going with this. But I also had to acknowledge that my mental health was not in a good place. My mindset was not in a good place at that time. I was burnt out. I was tired. I loved the essence of what I did, but I didn't think the way in which I was doing it, the industry standard part of it, fit for me anymore. I didn't want to be a service provider for the next 30 years and then retire. I thought there has to be a better way for me to not only educate and empower my clients to really understand what PR is, but to really do my part to ensure that our working relationship is a powerful one. Our partnership, our teamwork is moving towards those goals. And at the same time, in my personal life, I was having trouble setting boundaries. I was having trouble really kind of standing in my truth and protecting myself and really recognizing this is where that negativity stops. So I basically decided I was finally in a position mentally, emotionally, and financially to invest in some outside help. So I invested in business coaching, I invested in mindset coaching, and through both those things, I decided to incorporate coaching into my business. And the reason why, from a business standpoint, I wanted to do that was because over the years, I had noticed that whether it was clients coming to me or clients coming to agencies I was working with, I started to see patterns. Patterns such as people were coming to us with a lack of education and knowledge of what PR was. They were coming to us with a lot of fear and anxiety surrounding investing in marketing and PR and investing back into their businesses. And they had a lot of unrealistic expectations on what working together would look like. So myself and my colleagues, we spent a lot of time educating them on the industry as a whole, as opposed to actually focusing on this is how we work together. So coaching to me was a way that I could impart that education and that knowledge to ensure that my clients, whether they were startups, entrepreneurs, authors, would make better informed decisions about how they wanted to invest in marketing and PR for their businesses, and even if they were ready for it at that period in time. But on the mindset side, in order to fully step into being a coach, I had to first recognize where my own mindset blocks were. And that was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. Because up until this point, I had been going to counseling and finding catharsis through it and feeling like it was helping me work through issues. But it took me probably about a good decade to really recognize that, hey, wait a minute. Counseling's great for helping me handle issues in the moment, primarily with my personal relationships. But what it wasn't doing was it wasn't addressing the root causes of where that negativity, the fear, the anxiety was coming from. At the same time, I had been diagnosed with a chronic illness, and it took me a long time to realize that those flare-ups, the pain I was feeling, the lack of sleep, was honestly driven by my anxiety. So in investing in mindset coaching, not only did I realize the fact that all of those things were connected, I had to sit down with myself and actually say, my fear, my anxiety, the reason why I have spent years feeling like my testimonials and client reviews will speak for me rather than me going out there and sharing my story is because I don't want to lose control. And the reason why I had such a fear of losing control was because growing up, I had no control. I was being controlled. I was not allowed to live the life that I wanted to live. And what I wanted to do in my life, whether it was an educational option, a hobby, whatever, none of that was supported. And in order to let go of that fear of losing control and that obsessive need to somehow dictate or control how people responded to me on a business level, I had to first learn how to forgive myself for what I wasn't able to do as a child, and to forgive myself for doing the best that I could to protect myself, to survive. And once I did that, it was like a weight lifted off me, Lisa. The freedom that I found from doing that has allowed me to completely pivot on a mental and emotional level on how I run my business. I used to have to-do lists a mile long on a daily basis, and I would beat myself up for not completing it. And I would go to bed anxious. I would wake up in the middle of the night anxious, and then I'd have a chronic illness flare up, and then I'd need a couple of recovery days because I was losing so much sleep, and then the cycle would repeat itself. I would sabotage opportunities I got because I kept thinking, everything that needs to be said and done about PR, people are already doing it. No one needs to hear from me. And it wasn't until I learned how to let go of that need for control that I recognized, in order for people to get out there and share their stories and listen to me about that, I need to lead by example. I can't tell my clients to walk the walk if I'm not willing to do it myself. And in order for people to really and truly learn more about me and learn how to trust me, telling them what I do is almost irrelevant. It's almost immaterial because there's so many practitioners out there, so many agencies that do PR. If I really want people to come to me for coaching, to get that education, to get that empowerment, I have to be willing to show them that, hey, I understand where you're coming from because I've lived it. That fear, that anxiety, that uncertainty, that lack of family support, all of these different things that can serve to influence your subconscious mindset and that can sabotage you. I've lived that. And the more that I shared my story, the more freedom I found in it. The easier it became to really get out there and share with people, this is what I've done. These are the mindset tools that I lean into on a daily basis. Like I have self-hypnosis tracks that my mindset coach has created for me. I do guided meditation. I have mindset mantras that I remind myself of on a daily basis, in that it doesn't mean that I never feel anxious. It doesn't mean that I never feel afraid. What it does is that it means I have these tools to help me every time I feel those emotions, so I'm not stuck in that fear. I'm not stuck in that anxiety. I can push past it and live a better life. I can say yes to these opportunities without having fear stop me, because I understand what I bring to the table. I live in essentially two philosophies. Number one, if I do one thing a day, it's a great day. I'm satisfied. I'm accomplished. It feels great. And the other part of it is that the people that are ready to hear what it is that I have to say are the people that resonate with it, are the people that I want to get in front of. Everyone else, like, that's just white noise. I'm
Oh,
not
yes.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to fight somebody who is not
Right.
ready to hear about the power of storytelling, how you can get out of that vicious circle of like fear and anxiety and feeling stuck. If you're not ready to hear it, I'm not going to, that's not something that you cannot kick and drag somebody kicking and screaming into an epiphany, right?
Right. And I, believe like if that's not everyone's meant for you, right? So it's like if it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you. So we don't ever need to do that. But I just feel like there was so much gold. First of all, you are an excellent storyteller because I was just like drawn into your story. And I feel like there was so much gold that you said that I want to just sort of, pinpoint for our listeners, is because I talk to people every single day who feel like, well, I just can't do what I want to do because no one else has done it, right? There's that fear of stepping outside of the box because it does feel so foreign from the road that maybe, the people that love you most, they want you to go in this quote unquote safe direction. And the reality is, you've got, a calling on your heart that you've got to follow. And so the way that you describe that experience of having to really step outside of the box, like I was feeling like the courage that must have taken to really stand in that and stay in it, especially during the times when, yeah, the money wasn't flowing in yet, right? You still had work to do. And that's key, right? It's like once we take that courageous step and we're like, okay, I choose me, the work is not done, it's just starting. And that's what you described. And I think, like for me, if I'm going to hire someone for, say something like PR, part of my business, I want someone who has walked the walk, right? I want someone who understands what it means to really step out and be seen. And I want to talk about this point with you too, because I talk to a lot of my clients, and some are entrepreneurs, some are professionals, but some people have this deeply seated fear of being seen. And by that, that can mean a lot of different things. But when we're talking about public relations, we're talking about really allowing yourself to step out and claim who you are, to tell your story, to let yourself be seen as an expert, as a professional, whatever it is that you're doing. And a lot of people have, it's really like a subconscious fear, because often they don't even know it's there until suddenly they're just frozen, can't feel like I can't share, I'm not showing up. So I'm so curious, like, how your journey has helped you or how you help your clients who are sort of in this space of fear?
Being visible for me is really about, first of all, getting introspective and then getting vulnerable. Being willing to, and that's why it is so scary for people, because as human beings, we are sort of conditioned, especially in business, to keep things professional, right? It's about focusing on what you offer. Like, what are the features? What are the values of your product? What are, what your services and everything? And being vulnerable and allowing people to get to know you can open us up to being judged, can open us up to being rejected. And in my journey, I looked at it as, the dangers of not getting out there, of being willing to share your story and being vulnerable can mean one of two things. Number one, somebody else can control the narrative. So you could have a client or a partner going out there and sharing things about you that may or may not be true and that may or may be skewed towards their perception. That's not going to help you in business. That's a negative of not being able to get out there and share your own story. The other part of it is that I think what we're moving towards in business and in life in general is people trust people, right? People buy from people. They want to support real life, authentic people that they can trust and not like a faceless corporation. And in order to do that, as an individual, as an entrepreneur, as I've said, what you do is surface level, it's immaterial. You know, I know that there are thousands of publicists out there. In stepping into the PR coaching space, I've really kind of gone into uncharted waters because it's very rare. Like, there's a lot of life coaches out there, there's a lot of mindset coaches out there, and there's a lot of business coaches out there. You're not going to find a lot of PR coaches out there because the vast majority of people, if they're looking for PR and marketing, they're looking for someone to do it for them. They're looking for a campaign. But I decided to go in a different direction with that, primarily because I wanted to set my clients up for life, to give them not just, the tools and resources to have a strong mindset, but the tools and the resources to learn how to launch their own successful campaigns. My colleagues that run agencies or who are freelancers, you will never see them give clients their media lists. The industry standard is that's our bread and butter. If I give you my list, why would you hire me? But what I do is I give them starter versions of lists that I've spent years building. These are relationships that I've had for years, and I just go to my clients and go, here, I want to set you up on the right foot for all of this. And if you want to keep building on this and you get stuck, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to support you. I'm here to guide you. And getting people to understand that is really about first sharing my journey in getting out there and being vulnerable and allowing myself to have that boundary between what is personal versus what is private. And I share a lot of what is personal because my upbringing, my chronic illness, my physical limitations, my entrepreneurship journey, my mindset, my chronic illness, my culture, all of these things have really influenced how I choose to live my life, how I choose to run my business. So I'm willing to share that because I want to not only educate my clients, I want to inspire them. I want someone out there who is maybe feeling stuck in that box, particularly for women who are people of color like myself, who have generations of trauma and generations of tradition that they feel like they have to live up to. In sharing my story, I want to let them know, hey, life is too short to be miserable. You have a right to embrace something new, to live the life that you want to live, and to find joy in that. It's my goal to educate and empower as many, especially women around the world, to step into that, to own their stories, to find the power in sharing their stories, because for so many years and so many generations, we weren't allowed to do that. We were told and forced to stay in our boxes, right? To work to help someone else achieve their dreams for decades before maybe finally being able to live the life that you want in retirement. For me, I'm not willing to wait until I'm 55, 60, 65. Nothing in life is guaranteed, right? I may not even see that age. So knowing that, what can I do right now that's going to be fulfilling for me on a mental and emotional level, professionally and personally, that's going to help inspire someone else to take action, to take that step, and to understand that, yes, you are possibly opening yourself up to rejection and to judgment. But the fact of the matter is that those people that feel that way, those are not your people. Those are not the people that you want in your corner. Those are not the people you want supporting you, buying from you. And, those are never going to be people in your audience. But if you never get out there, you never find that strength to be like, sharing my story is more powerful than keeping it to myself. And finding that confidence in spite of that fear, you're missing out on so many opportunities. You're missing out on this chance to really own your own story, to step into your own power, and to build these relationships, these partnerships that can help you achieve what you want to achieve. I mean, if I hadn't stepped into that, if I hadn't finally said, hey, I'm tired of being in the background, I'm tired of being passed over because people don't know me, I would have never been able to work with some incredible clients, to partner up with some incredible mentors, and to continue to find opportunities to get out there to share my story and share why, it's uplifting, empowering, and just honestly joyful to get out there and, build your own PR strategy to share your story.
Well, this is so good because I feel, it's like I feel like your clients come to you like, yeah, I just want PR. And then they work with you and they're going on a whole healing journey. They're probably like inadvertently healing all kinds of stuff, from generational trauma to, unconscious blocks they didn't see. And it feels like such a gift. Like the word that was coming to me is like, I feel like you're here to liberate. Like, you liberated yourself. Now you're here to liberate other people to really step into the best version of their life. So it's so aligned with our message here. And I'm just so appreciative of that. I just have a couple more questions for you. And the first question I have is what's the next evolution of your dream? Like, where are you going next as you step into your next version of Yes?
My goal is to be able to get on international stages, to be able to travel the globe and share that message of empowerment, to help women and other entrepreneurs really unlock the superpower behind their stories, to embrace their personal lived experiences, to banish the thoughts of like, oh, I'm not an expert because I don't have a degree in something, or I haven't done it for 20 or 30 years. I want everyone out there to understand that, hey, your experience is valid, your expertise is valid, and people need to hear your story. People need to hear from you. Like, I want to take that on an international level. I just released my book in late June, which is my first nonfiction PR book, The Powerful Publicity Prescription, wanting to share, not just the tools and resources in there that allow people to learn how to launch successful PR campaigns, but really the mindset part of it. How do you deal with the fear, the anxiety, the imposter syndrome? I want to be able to have a team that's going to help me continue to grow my message. Next step for me would be a podcast, just like this, to really have fellow marketing experts, mindset coaches, and everybody to come on and really talk about how to live a fulfilling life as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, how to also, as you're simultaneously standing in your truth in your business and putting, boundaries in your business, to prioritize your energy and protect your mindset and to give yourself time to reset and relax and decompress. How do you incorporate those boundaries as self-care in your personal life? What does that look like? For me, it is a dream of mine, in addition to going internationally, to be able to live abroad for half the year, to travel, to be able to, be in Portugal and work in the morning and then enjoy the rest of the day, to be able to travel Europe and still make that impact with clients and with attendees for my events. It's my dream to be able to really empower my clients to understand that, hey, saying no does not mean that you are rejecting business. Saying no does not mean you are torpedoing your relationships. Saying no a lot of the times is really about protecting yourself, protecting your peace, prioritizing your energy, with the understanding that, hey, driving yourself into the ground doesn't help you professionally, doesn't help you personally, and you are better served when you are taking care of yourself, And I really, my philosophy today is, I'm not the kind of person that you will find emailing people on weekends, right? I'm not frantically trying to meet deadlines at midnight. I said to myself, work is work, but my personal time is precious. My marriage is important to me. Spending time with family and friends is important to me. And you make those times, because every time I come out of that to go back to work, I feel refreshed. I feel rejuvenated, and I feel like it's an important reminder to me. It's like, this is part of the reason why I'm doing this, to have more days like this, to have more opportunities like this, and to feel good about it, right? To not have a date night and spend the entire time worrying about work, to go on vacation and not feel like I'm abandoning my business in order to do that. And these are things that I honestly believe that if I hadn't first done that mindset work and I wasn't willing to walk the walk, there's absolutely no way I could give my clients the level of personalized support and guidance and clarity that they deserve.
Yeah. Thank you. Such a powerful, beautiful dream. I have no doubt you are going to be living that dream, traveling abroad, speaking on stages. You've shared so many nuggets with us, and I'm curious if it's one of those, if there's something else, but what would you say is your secret sauce for success in your life?
I would say my secret sauce for success is embracing the opportunity is step number one. And step number two, instead of giving into the fear and anxiety, allowing myself the time and space that I need to practice, to prepare, to research. Doesn't mean that the anxiety and the fear and the nerves go away completely. But I am in a much better headspace instead of focusing on the negative outcomes about, hey, what if I stumble? I'm instead focusing on how can I add value? How can I educate people? How can I empower them? And that to me allows me to move forward with confidence, allows me to focus on the positive outcomes that I'm trying to manifest, and allows me to take every opportunity, not as a pass fail or a shot at glory versus completely burning out, but more as a what am I learning out of this? How can I grow with this? And I think that having that mindset, having that approach to business and to life has really empowered me to, instead of dwelling in the negative, focusing on opportunities to educate myself, to challenge myself, and to really try and learn to do better. I have Michael Jordan is someone that has inspired me from childhood. His career is actually what really bonded myself and my older brother. And I have a quote of his on the wall right by my bed in our bedroom that I see every single day when I go to bed and every single day when I wake up. And it says, obstacles do not have to stop you. If you reach one, don't just turn around and give up. Figure out a way to climb it, go through it, or work around it. And that is very, very true, because it's only an obstacle if you choose to make it one. I think so much of what we go through and what we put on ourselves is really, 10% is what happens to us, and the other 90 is how we choose to deal with it, how we perceive it, whether or not we choose to sit in that negativity or give ourselves the space and time to feel it and then go, okay, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to push past this. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like that's where the gold is, right? It's in those obstacles, because it's what's required of us that I feel like builds us to become the person who reaches his or her dreams, And I feel like you've shared so much wisdom with us today, and I just want to say thank you for that. I feel inspired and uplifted just being here in your presence. And if someone wants to reach out to you, one, they can read the book for sure, but how can they get in touch with you? Where is the easiest place for people to connect with you?
The best ways to connect with me is to follow me on LinkedIn. Just type in Lillian Sue on LinkedIn, or on Instagram at Lillian Sue Copywriter PR, because I'm on there 5 days a week sharing strategic and actionable tips for PR. And you can also send me an email at lillian@inretrospectwritingservices.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here today. This has been a huge gift, and I look forward to getting this out for everyone to just get to hear from your wisdom.
Thanks again for having me, Lisa. I appreciate it.